Okay, so today I'm here with my friend Lance. He is a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and he competes frequently. You've also done some like semi-pro competitions for grappling as well, right? So how did you get into jiu-jitsu, and how long have you been at it?
Well, so I guess it started. I mean, I'll have to rewind a little bit. I'm in the military, Air Force, and a long time ago in the Air Force, I got to go through some Krav Maga training.
Okay.
And so when I got stationed out here in Vegas, I found a Krav Maga gym. So I started going there. And Las Vegas Krav Maga, if you're ever in Vegas, great school. So I started training there. And they had a Krav program, boxing, Muay Thai, and they had a no-gi grappling at the time. So I started doing some no-gi grappling, and the professor, the teacher, a guy named Art, I love him dearly, great friend to this day. He asked me one day, why don't I come to his gi class? And I told him, I was like, I don't have a gi. And so he said, if I give you a gi, will you come? I was like, sure, why not, you know? So I didn't think he was gonna give me a gi.
Right.
But next time I saw him, he gave me a gi, and I was like, well, am I allowed to cuss?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I was like, well, shit, I guess I gotta go now, right? So, I've been training ever since. It's been, I guess, 5 years now. I guess 6 total or so, but like 5 in the gi too.
It's funny. Fredson gave me my first gi.
Oh, see, yeah.
Training was difficult, the schedule and the cost and everything when I first started.
Right.
And so I was just kind of showing up in no gi, but casual no gi.
Right.
And the first day that it was gi, I said, oh, well, I don't have a gi, sir. And there was another...
Fredson's great like that.
Yeah. There was a 3-stripe black belt.
Yeah.
And he just took his gi off and gave it to me.
Wow.
And every time I tried to return it,
just won't take it back
it's
and
okay.
stuff. Right.
And you know, I think that's the community side of this sport. That there's a cost, right? And, and we all,
because there's a business, right?
It's a business, and that level of instruction and knowledge, it is a profession, and I think there's that respect for it, but there's also that love of the sport and knowing
and the art, you know, just passing it forward, pushing it forward, continuing it.
Let me give you a hand up to get into it, right?
So Art, the guy that gave me the gi, one of the first things, well, I guess one of the things that he would always say is, you know, push the art forward, you know?
Yes.
Like, you can't just train and take, you know, you have to give back, you have to push it forward. And that's something that I've taken to heart too, because, well, I'm always trying to get people to train. Right. Whether, you know, it's come train with me at my place, or let's go hit an open mat together, or, you know, I'm always speaking forward jiu-jitsu and getting them to come train.
You and I, we met for the first time at a tournament.
At the tournament, yeah.
And we've talked, we've tested just about jiu-jitsu in general, the sport in general, and you've been very encouraging.
Yeah, I try to be.
well, no, but I think that's so important, because, like I would say, because I'm 43. You're
39.
You're
39,
getting close. I was gonna say you're getting close to your 40.
I feel it.
Right?
I feel it.
Right. But you started training as an adult.
Yes.
Not as a kid, you know. And so I think other adults looking at us going, do I train? Like, it's intimidating stepping on the mat for the first time.
I think the hardest part is probably just walking into a gym.
Yeah.
You know, more so than getting on the mat. I think just walking into a building somewhere is the hardest part. And even as an adult that trains, sometimes it's hard going to an open mat somewhere, because you don't know what that culture, that place is going to be like, if, you know, they're going to be dicks and stuff or whatever. But I mean, most places are cool.
The new guy,
exactly,
or
you know?
welcome the new guy.
Right. And I mean, sometimes welcoming the new guy is smashing them, but it's, you know, it's
but in a friendly way.
Exactly. You know, like, you can feel the energy when you roll, you know, if they have malice intent or not, you know. So but
I think
passing it forward.
That's something that's so important too, is recognizing that energy.
Right.
And I say this often like with women who are like, well, I don't want to roll with the men. I don't want to da 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 da. I find sometimes that I get frustrated because I'm like, stop just responding to what I'm doing. Like, you know, because the guys make such an effort to be so supportive and so gentle and not just smash me.
Yes.
But then at the same time, I recognize when the guys, I can't give them the role they need. You know.
So you know,
how do you work through that?
I'll go back to. I mean, I heard it a lot from Art, but my current professor Crescenzio, Las Vegas Jiu Jitsu, Cress always tells me that, you know, no matter who your partner is, whether they're bigger or smaller, stronger, whatever, less advanced, more advanced, there's always something you can work on.
Right.
So even, you know, if I was to roll with you, yes, you know, I'd probably have you by like 100 pounds, if not more, right?
Yeah.
I would work on, and I've been doing this a lot lately with everyone anyways, is working on my guard.
Right.
But even so, then I think, you know, because if I hold you on my guard the whole time, you're not doing anything.
Right.
So something else that I always try to work on is constant movement, because movement is life in essence.
Yes.
You know, and just being able to move constantly, not sitting and trying to catch my breath or trying to, you know, sit in a bad position. I need to be able to move and keep moving. And
where do you differentiate where like you're in a good position and I'm going to hold this here for a minute and make this guy or give this guy the opportunity to think and work? Like, does that make sense? Like balancing that constant movement with, I'm in a good place to take a minute, let him work.
I mean, for me, I guess being a big guy, I mean, they call me a hippo, right?
Yeah.
That's like my nickname is the
war
hippo.
hippo.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, being on top is a good position, right? So anything on top, or if I have the person's back, is a good position where I could slow down and catch a breath, right? But if I maybe pull them into my guard, all right, I could take a couple seconds and then start attacking or looking for sweeps or something. But that just recognizing when I can start to advance,
right,
and not be so defensive at that time.
Okay.
That's when I realize I'm at a good position, or, you know, at least a favorable position to move forward.
Because I find that, like, for me, and I get gassed out pretty quickly. So, like, if I know that I'm getting close to the end of my gas tank and I have someone in guard or whatever, in competition, like, you know, my last match, that was the situation.
Right.
And I knew I had points. And I thought, do I risk getting submitted
Right.
by letting go of my guard when I know I'm worn out?
So,
like, how do you...
well, that's different though, because you're bringing in the point system, right?
Right.
So, I mean, that in itself is different from just like rolling and training
a
or
fun
open
training
mat,
roll. Okay.
or even like a submission only thing, right? Because in my experience, in my weight class, I find that a lot of guys will play it safe and try to play the points. So, you know, they'll do things like that. You know, they won't risk getting submission. They might play the points against the clock. You know how it is.
Yeah.
I typically don't. I like to try to submit.
Yeah.
You know, and I do all right at it. But
got some aggression.
no, not at all. I'm a teddy bear.
But that's why I think that's why we train.
Yes.
And I think that honestly, it's so much easier. I find that days that I don't train, I'm cussing a lot more on the drive home.
You know, me too. For maybe not cussing on the drive home, but no. I guess if anything, I feel I'll feel like, damn, I should have went and trained today.
Yeah.
You know, or like, gosh, dog, why did I oversleep? You know.
Yeah.
So I always try to get out there. I mean, my kids know, like, Daddy has jujitsu at 6:30. He's gonna go. You know, like, if I'm gonna go with him, I need to be ready or he's leaving me.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think, but my kids are the same way.
Yeah.
And like, I talk to them about, you understand that this isn't like mommy not wanting to spend time with
Right.
you. this is mommy doing what she needs to be her healthiest self.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody needs their own release or what's the term?
Outlet, maybe?
Self care. There we go. Self care. You know, and this is, you know, a form of that for me, for you, for a lot of people. But something that I tend to do is I got my kids involved. So
Yes.
my oldest daughter trained. Well, she used to train a lot, not so much anymore, but she's getting back into it. My middle daughter Jazz, she trained for a little bit. She's 12 now, so she's being a little girl, and I'm sure she'll come back eventually. And then my other daughter Nia, she I could see her definitely training. She's already kind of physical and wrestling and stuff like that. So I just getting them involved, and it helps me spend time with them too as well. So it's become a family thing, I guess.
It's kind of funny. So my kids are 12, 10, and 8, and they have a good eye. You don't realize how much they're picking up just being in the
just
gym,
watching and stuff.
just watching. But I have a rule with them that if they're gonna roll at home, or if they're gonna fight, both participants have to agree in advance. If they don't both agree, whoever instigated it has to roll with mommy.
Oh wow, nice.
Now I'm not that talented.
Yeah.
But
you could beat them.
But they're small enough, I could beat them.
Right.
And it's changed that dynamic with me with them too, because now, I'm recently single, and my boys are my younger two. They're 10 and 8, but they are still seeing that protective streak for mama coming out.
Right.
Now that they know I'm single and live on my own. And it started, but then as I've trained more, they don't say the same things about keeping me safe, or and I think that's such a gift to give your children too, is that sense of security.
Definitely. For your kids in general, but especially like girls to me.
Yes.
Like they just need to be able to defend themselves.
I think so.
Whether it's against girls or
Just
other
in
boys
any
or something like that.
situation.
Yeah. So.
Well,
100% agree.
I think Enlo and I talked about it a little bit, but that moment when someone calmly puts their hands on you and you don't know what to do, is very unsettling. And I think one thing I love with jiu-jitsu, a white belt, that is not a 6-week process.
Yeah.
You're not moving from white belt in 6 weeks, or at least you shouldn't be. But the biggest thing that I've taken away is, like, when someone puts their hands on me or someone gets into my physical space, my reaction is very different now
than what it
was
You're
before
probably
I started training.
Maybe a little calmer, or even if it's necessarily not calm, it might be like at least you know what to do in this panic. Well,
I think you can read why that contact has happened much more clearly. I guess. Like, just that understanding of what you said earlier. Is there malice with this?
Right.
Or is it just contact?
Right. Yeah, no, I get that too. And then with my oldest daughter Jade, she was having trouble at school with some kids, right? But when she started training, she tends to like stand up and striking more than jujitsu. But when she started training in both, that changed. The bullies stopped because they realized that she had hands now. So
there's a bearing.
Right.
Because I bruise easily, I'm very pale, so like I look.
Yeah, I see a couple right in the shoulder.
I look, and this is looking pretty good right now for me. But one thing that's interesting to me is, I had one time someone was noticing my bruises and asking, like, "Are you okay? Are you safe?" And
oh yeah, I get it. Yeah,
are you safe?
It's like, yeah, duh.
And I looked at her and I said, "Well, did I walk in here like I'm not?" And she, "No, you didn't." And I think that when we talk about like for your daughters and training and
Mhm.
dealing with bullying and everything else,
Right.
that confidence from that self-knowledge that comes
Mhm.
from training, you're bearing shifts and everybody
Yeah.
suddenly recognizes, like, even if they don't know why and they don't know that you
Right.
train, they can see it.
Yeah. And and then I think people that haven't stepped on the mat just don't quite understand yet.
Yeah.
But then, when you explain it to them, they get curious and,
Mhm.
may even want to try it for themselves.
Yeah.
And, so pushing that art forward again, right? So,
Well, and in the years that you've been training, because purple belt, that's taken some time.
yeah. And it's been a little bit of time. It's been a journey. There we go. It's
Yeah.
not a sprint. It's a journey.
Yeah. But would you say that the majority of the people you've interacted with in the sport have that pay it forward mentality of welcoming new people, or do you think that it's gotten more exclusive over time as a sport?
I don't know. I guess I obviously can't speak for everyone, but the people that I do know have been very welcoming
Right.
and paying it forward, whether it's inviting people to come train at our academy, or even setting up mats at their own house and then inviting people to come over and train
Well, especially with COVID, that was happening
everywhere,
ton,
right? Yeah.
you know.
So, but no, I think there's a lot of people that are definitely with the pay it forward mentality, trying to spread the art, bring people in.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So
yeah.
what keeps you showing up? Like,
Hmm.
it's more than a gi at this point.
Right, yeah.
Like,
That's a good one. It's, I guess, got layers to it. Definitely, stress, stress relief. I've had issues with depression, anxiety in the past, and jiu-jitsu has definitely helped with that.
Right.
But also, it's become, I guess, like a philosophy of sorts for me to live by.
like a
Where
lifestyle.
yeah, like I've learned everything that I've learned on the mat is relatable to life off of the mat.
Isn't it?
It really is.
And some people get it, and some don't.
Right.
And the ones that don't, I kind of feel sorry for, because I'm like, you're putting all this work in,
Yes.
and you're leaving it there.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
good God.
Yeah. No. I mean, well, and sometimes life happens or whatever.
Right.
So okay. I mean, people. I was just talking with a guy, Mike, today, and he was talking about how he was training for a while, then he stopped, and then he just recently started training again, like maybe a year ago.
Right.
So he's getting back into it. And and I was telling him, I was like, the mat's always here, and whether you got to leave for a bit and come back,
But
mat's
I-
always waiting.
I love that that's the general attitude towards it. Like, this is not seen as a quick way to get in shape, or
Yeah.
a quick, like, this is seen as a lifetime pursuit. And the people that welcome me onto the mat,
Yeah.
they reinforce that, so that for me, like, the embarrassment of a lapse in training doesn't prevent me from coming back.
Well, why does it have to be an embarrassment?
Right.
Because, like we said, life happens, right? You're not going to be able to come sometimes, or even, it might sometimes turn into a gap, weeks or months or whatever, injuries or whatever the case may be, work, kids, life happens.
Life,
So, I mean, whatever the reason is that you stop, it doesn't have to be an embarrassment. I mean,
Right.
come back when you can, right? So, some people will try to, come back faster than others or never leave. And I mean, that's okay too. It is what it is.
But I love just that, like, off the mat, that life lesson, right?
Yeah.
How many people start something
And quit.
hit that first bubble of adversity,
Mm-hmm.
and then quit, and because they told all their friends and family,
Yeah.
and then they quit. Now they're embarrassed, so they never
Right.
go back to it, or it takes them so much longer. And
Yeah.
and you know how many of those things it was just learning curve. It wasn't failure.
Right. Yeah. No. And that can be unfortunate. You know, I mean, the whole blue belt blues thing, right? But you know, I mean,
Well-
I've ran into a few people that stop at blue,
Right.
and some come back, some don't. But it's like what do they say, right? It's not about who's the best at the end. It's about who's left or whatever, right?
Right.
So you know, I mean, it's a journey,
Right.
you know, not a sprint, and you just gotta be prepared for that.
Right.
Really, you know, be
And
prepared
then
for
to
that
just
journey.
keep coming and keep
Yeah.
showing up.
You know, so I wrote. There's this guy named Anthony Potter. I don't know. You know? Do you know Potter?
I don't know how.
He does he's a judo black belt.
Ooh.
He's trained with Fredson.
Okay.
He's a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, and great guy. Potter's a great guy. He actually teaches judo at Las Vegas Krav Maga.
Oh, cool.
Right. So something Potter would always tell me, because I'll be like, "Man, you're so good, man." He's like, "Bro, it's just I walk through the door more times than you." You know, because you know he's been training for that much
is
longer.
huge.
You know, he's like, I walk through the door more times than you.
Huge. Yeah.
And really, that's just what it is. You know, you keep coming, you'll get better. You
Yeah.
put the time in on the mat, you'll get better. When you take your breaks, everybody's gonna catch up, and so
Yeah.
when you come back,
Be prepared for
right?
that.
You know, be prepared
Yeah.
that they caught up to you, and keep on going to improve. You
I
know.
think it's kind of fun. Like when it's like, ooh, look at what you got.
Yeah,
like,
no, really, you know, So
I better put the work back in.
yeah,
because-
you mentioned Enlo, right?
Yeah.
Enlo and I met at a tournament, right? We were white belts and stuff, competed, and you know, I didn't see him again for like a year or something. Then I saw him again. We were both blue belts, and then we just became friends, right? Ever since. And Enlo is the guy where we just were constantly back and forth, you know, like
kind of pushing each other.
yeah, you know, like Ryu and Ken, you know,
Yeah.
Goku, Vegeta, right? We're just back and forth, always, you know. He'll get me, like today, Enlo got me in a nice knee bar, right?
But I love that, like when that happens,
Yeah.
the reaction is like, oh man.
You know, I was like,
It's
damn,
like,
you know,
it's fun.
yeah, it really is. And I mean, I told him, I was like, because I made the mistake of going De La Riva, and then that's when he went for it. And I was like, damn, I shouldn't have went De La Riva on Enlo, because knee bars is his thing, you know? And so, you know, I mean, just, you know, like you said, you like it, you know,
Yep.
you laugh about it, and it's
And
great.
you
You know,
like
I'll
that
get him
you're
next
getting
week.
pushed.
Yeah.
You like you're getting pushed.
We push each other all
Awesome.
the time. He's I love rolling with him. You know,
Thank
so.
you so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I'm gonna
Get the controller.
enjoy. Stop.